The Dama Gazelle originates from the Sahel region of Africa, a vast ecological transition zone that stretches from the southern edge of the Sahara Desert down toward the savannas. Historically, this species was widespread across countries such as Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, and Sudan. Over time, intense hunting, habitat loss, and drought pushed them into smaller and more fragmented areas. Their evolutionary history is closely tied to the semi-arid landscapes of North Africa, where they adapted to extreme heat, sparse vegetation, and long periods without water. The natural habitat of the Dama gazelle includes open grasslands, semi-deserts, and the dry scrublands of the Sahel. They prefer flat or gently rolling terrain with scattered shrubs and grasses, which provide both food and enough visibility to detect predators. Although the environment may seem harsh, these gazelles are highly specialized for survival in arid climates, capable of tolerating extreme temperatures and obtaining most of their moisture from plants. Today, habitat loss has confined them primarily to protected reserves and remote desert regions where human disturbance is limited. Dama gazelles are going extinct mainly because their natural environment has been shrinking and becoming increasingly hostile. Over the past century, human activities have expanded deep into the Sahel and Sahara regions where these gazelles once lived freely. Widespread habitat loss from agriculture, livestock overgrazing, and settlement has reduced the open, semi-desert landscapes they rely on. As their habitat became more fragmented, small groups were isolated from one another, making it harder for populations to stay genetically healthy and stable. Another major driver of their decline is intense hunting. For decades, Dama gazelles were hunted for meat, skins, and sport, especially during times of political instability when wildlife protection collapsed. Because they naturally occur in low densities and reproduce slowly, even moderate hunting caused severe population crashes. In some regions, they disappeared completely long before conservation measures were put in place. Climate change has also played a destructive role. Increasing droughts and desertification in the Sahel have reduced already limited vegetation, making survival even harder. Competition with domestic livestock for food and water forces these gazelles into even harsher, more remote areas where resources are scarce and predators or human threats may still be present. The Dama gazelle is known for its striking, high-contrast coloration that helps it stand out as one of the most elegant antelopes. Its body is mostly white, while the upper neck, back, and sometimes the hips display a rich reddish-brown or chestnut color. The head is predominantly white with a reddish patch on the crown, giving it a delicate and refined appearance. Calves are born more uniformly tan, and their patterns become sharper as they mature. This blend of white and red-brown is not only beautiful but also helps them reflect heat and stay cool in their harsh desert habitats. The Dama gazelle is known for its striking, high-contrast coloration that helps it stand out as one of the most elegant antelopes. Its body is mostly white, while the upper neck, back, and sometimes the hips display a rich reddish-brown or chestnut color. The head is predominantly white with a reddish patch on the crown, giving it a delicate and refined appearance. Calves are born more uniformly tan, and their patterns become sharper as they mature. This blend of white and red-brown is not only beautiful but also helps them reflect heat and stay cool in their harsh desert habitats. Dama gazelles have a slim, long-legged, and lightly built frame designed for speed and endurance rather than raw power. Their bodies are graceful and elongated, with a long neck that gives them a slightly giraffe-like silhouette. This build allows them to reach high shrubs and vegetation that many other antelopes cannot access. Both males and females carry horns, though the male's horns are usually thicker and longer, curving slightly backward. Their overall structure gives them an incredibly light and agile presence, ideal for navigating vast, open desert landscapes. This species is among the largest of all gazelles. Adults typically stand 90 to 120 centimeters tall at the shoulder, and their long, slender neck adds additional height when they browse on shrubs. Their body length usually ranges between 140 to 165 centimeters, making them noticeably bigger than most other gazelle species. Despite their delicate appearance, their size gives them a commanding presence in the wild. Among all gazelle species, the Dama gazelle stands the tallest. Their long legs and elongated neck give them an almost delicate, giraffe-like appearance. This height isn't just for show, it allows them to browse from trees and tall shrubs, giving them access to food sources most gazelles can't reach, which helps them survive in harsh, sparse environments. Although tall and long-limbed, Dama gazelles remain extremely lightweight for their size. Adults typically weigh between 35 and 75 kilograms, with males tending to be at the heavier end of the range. Their light frame is an adaptation to their arid habitat, allowing them to run efficiently, conserve energy, and escape predators with remarkable speed and agility. Dama gazelles are remarkably swift animals, built for life in open desert and Sahel landscapes where speed is one of their greatest defenses. They can reach running speeds of around 80 km per hour, allowing them to escape predators in bursts of high-speed sprints. Their long, slender legs and lightweight bodies make them efficient runners, capable of maintaining fast pacing over longer distances as well. This combination of sprinting speed and endurance helps them survive in regions where threats often appear suddenly and cover large open terrain. Dama gazelles tend to be shy, alert, and cautious animals, constantly scanning their surroundings for danger. They often live in small groups, sometimes just a few individuals, because their fragmented habitat and low population numbers limit large herd formation. Their behavior is shaped by the harsh environments they inhabit. They move across wide areas in search of food and can adjust their daily routine depending on temperature, often being more active during the cooler morning and late afternoon hours. Their long legs and necks enable them to browse shrubs and small trees that other gazelles cannot reach, and they often stand on their hind legs to stretch higher. This behavior allows them to survive in areas with very little grass. Dama gazelles rely heavily on their eyesight and speed. When threatened, they usually freeze to assess the situation, then flee in rapid, bounding leaps. Socially, they are gentle and calm, using subtle body language and posture to communicate rather than loud vocalizations. Young gazelles often hide quietly in bushes for protection while their mothers forage nearby, a behavior common among desert antelopes needing to stay concealed from predators. Dama gazelles are generally quiet animals, and their vocalizations are subtle compared to many other antelope species. They rely far more on body language, posture, and movement to communicate, especially because they live in open habitats where staying silent helps them avoid predators. Most of the sounds they make are soft and usually only heard at close range. Adult Dama gazelles may produce gentle grunts or snorts, mainly as warning signals when they sense danger. These noises are not loud but serve to alert nearby gazelles to be cautious. During the breeding season, males sometimes make low, throaty sounds when displaying dominance or challenging rivals, but these vocalizations are still fairly mild. The species does not have a wide range of calls, and they rarely vocalize unless necessary. Young Dama gazelles, however, are slightly more vocal. Calves often emit soft bleating or murmuring sounds to stay in contact with their mothers, especially when they are hiding in vegetation. These calls help the mother locate her young without drawing too much attention. Overall, Dama gazelle's sound repertoire is limited, reflecting their strategy of staying unnoticed in vast, open, and often dangerous environments. Dama gazelles obtain most of their moisture from the plants they eat and are able to endure long, hot stretches without needing to drink free water. Their bodies are highly efficient at conserving moisture, a vital adaptation for life in some of the driest regions of Africa. They can even allow their body temperature to rise slightly to reduce water loss through sweating. Because food is scattered across the desert and Sahel, Dama gazelles naturally roam over vast distances. Their home ranges can be extremely large compared to other antelopes. This wandering lifestyle once allowed them to track seasonal vegetation, but modern barriers, such as human settlements and livestock herds, make this free movement much harder. Dama gazelles are primarily browsers, meaning they feed mostly on leaves, shoots, and tender plant parts rather than grass. Their long legs and elongated necks give them an advantage in reaching shrubs and small trees, especially in the dry Sahel and desert regions where grass is often scarce. They prefer fresh, green growth when available, selecting nutrient-rich leaves that provide both food and moisture. This selective browsing helps them survive in environments where vegetation is scattered and often seasonal. They are also highly adapted to arid conditions, and their diet reflects this. Dama gazelles often consume plants with high water content, allowing them to obtain enough moisture without drinking freestanding water for long periods. They may feed on acacia leaves, desert shrubs, succulents, and various herbs depending on what is available. In areas with very limited plant life, they can stand on their hind legs to reach higher vegetation that most antelopes cannot access. This feeding strategy allows them to withstand droughts and remain active in some of the harshest climates on Earth. Their diet changes seasonally based on plant availability. After rare rains, they take advantage of fresh shoots and flowering plants. In the long dry seasons, they rely on tougher shrubs and thorny bushes that stay green longer than grasses. This flexibility helps them cope with extreme environmental changes and ensures they can survive even when food resources become limited. Dama gazelles do not have a strict, fixed breeding season like some other antelope species. Instead, their mating activity often depends on environmental conditions, especially the availability of food. In regions where there is a short rainy season, breeding tends to peak shortly after this period, giving calves a better chance of being born when vegetation is at its best. However, in captivity or in areas with stable conditions, they may breed throughout the year. During the breeding period, males become more territorial and will defend small areas that contain good feeding spots. They use displays such as head tossing, foot stamping, and showing off their horns to discourage rival males. When a receptive female approaches, the male performs a series of gentle courtship behaviors, including sniffing, following her closely, and making soft grunts. Once the female accepts the male, mating takes place quickly, as Dama gazelles are naturally alert and cautious animals. The gestation period of the Dama gazelle is relatively long, around 6.5 months. Females usually give birth to a single calf, although twins are possible but rare. To protect their newborn, females often move away from the group and choose a quiet, hidden spot among shrubs. The newborn calf will lie still and remain concealed for the first several days of life while the mother stays nearby and returns periodically to nurse it. This hiding behavior helps protect the vulnerable calf from predators. Dama gazelle calves grow quickly. Within a few days, they can stand and run, and within a few weeks, they begin following their mothers as they forage. Calves are typically weaned at around 3 to 4 months, though they may continue to graze alongside their mothers long after. Young gazelles usually stay close to their mother until the next breeding cycle begins. Females reach sexual maturity at about 1.5 years, while males generally mature a bit later, around 2 years, as they need more time to develop the size and strength to compete with other males. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for even more viewing pleasure. Don't forget, like and comment. Feel free to share.